Hey YouTube, greetings and salutations. This is your boy Fragments of Memory once again. And I must say I just got through watching, well not just, but last night I saw a video by my good homeboy Testizel here on YouTube. And he made he made an interesting video about don't eat coochie. Um and again, before I begin, this is a video that may be for the 18 and up crowd because we're discussing sexual things of a sexual nature. So, to get my little disclaimer out of the way there. Wow, really? My good buddy Testizel was making some comments about Cunnilingus and how it should be avoided. And wow, he put it out there. He put it out there. But what he was talking about is how in the black community there is a high level of sexually transmitted diseases and infections. And sometimes when you have things like herpes or gonorrhea or chlamydia or syphilis, when you engage in unprotected oral sex, that can be on your mouth and that doesn't go away. That's forever. That is totally forever. So I'm with you on that. That may make a lot of women mad, I guess, but diseases like that can be passed orally. And I think the problem is that I think in an earlier video I mentioned that I knew a girl back in the day who engaged in oral sex and engaged in some other types of sex, but she didn't have intercourse. There was no vaginal penetration. And a lot of people assume that if you're not having vaginal penetration that you're not having sex, which is false. If you engage in excuse me for being a little foul here. If you engage in anal sex, if you engage in oral sex, that's just as much sex as you inserting your genitals into someone's else's genitals. So it's foolhardy and idiotic to think that just because you didn't do this and you do everything else that you're still technically a virgin, which you're not. Um, I also want to address the whole thing. You talked about how someone will stay with you for at least 7 years. And a friend of mine and I were talking about this maybe a year or so ago. And they were telling me, oh, yeah, you stay with someone stays with you for 10 years. So with the exchange of fluids, and some even go as far on an esoteric level to call it, or a spiritual level, if you will, and say that spiritual and psychic energy is exchanged, and that stays with you for a while. So you're correct that when you have DNA, the DNA of that person is with that girl, which is why she can't seem to get over Bobby or Tommy or Johnny or whoever. Insert your name here. She can't get over him because she still has him in her. And unfortunately, men have been promiscuous. Now women are being more promiscuous. And she's got all that psychic or DNA up in her, psychic energy or DNA up in her, and she's wondering why she's going crazy. You wondering why this woman is acting crazy and getting all twisted in the mind. And I can imagine she's still attached to the person prior. And now she's got all these different entities up in her fighting for some sort of supremacy. And she's got to balance that out and deal with it. So, good shot on that one, Testizel. I mean, dude, it was like that sort of came to me. It was like, okay. And that explains some women I've known in my life. And I don't mean women I've dated, just women in general. Why she can't seem to get over that one ex-boyfriend. Like, I know a lady right now who, from what I hear, she still deals with the gentleman that was the father of her children. And I believe when you create children, you create a bond together. So that bond is with you. So you got to be careful who you lay down with and who you make children with, because that's going to haunt you for a very, 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 very long time. Not necessarily the rest of your life, but a very, very, very long time. And it can prevent you from having better things, or it can be a great obstacle. I won't say it will prevent you, but it will have great obstacles that you got to face. And if that's one battle you don't want to fight, be careful who you lay with. And besides, I don't think there's anything wrong with not having sex. I think it's best to wait until you're married. I think everybody should wait until they're married. Yes, I know desire is within us. Yes, I know that we have urges and impulses. And yes, I know that we have temptations, and life happens, and life has its vicissitudes. But I think there should still be some form of restraint and controlling of said desires. I was reading a post on Facebook today where a gentleman was talking about how desires are so intense, you can't just have one. You can't just smoke one blunt. And this is his quote. You got to have three. You can't mess with one girl. You got to mess with 4, 5 different females. You can't just have one female and be happy. You can't eat one snack. You got to have a whole box. You can't have one good pair of shoes. You got to have 20 good pairs of shoes. And that seems to be the nature of man, is just that desire. So I want to just point out that everyone should be careful. Just be careful who you associate yourself with. Be careful ladies, be careful who you let into your body, because that's your body. That's who you are. And gentlemen, be careful of what waters you decide to explore with your body, so to speak. You can't swim in everybody's water, so be careful. Not just disease, but also attachment and children and things like that. And beware of the cunnilingus, because apparently cunnilingus is really bad. So if you're going to engage in that activity, I guess protect yourself like you would any other sexual act. Thank you, Testizel, for sharing this. Wow. But you did put it out there, and that's not a negative. I'm just like, wow, you kept it really real. So, again, leave your commentary, leave your hatred, leave your love, leave your apathy, whatever you got. Just give me some kind of feedback. Be easy like Sunday morning. Take care.